Sup? Hey, ooh, I need to adjust my... There. We okay? Okay. Hey, hi, hello, it's your boy Nate. I usually read books because reading is sexy, and if you're not reading, you're not sexy. But today, we've got the movie wrap-up. I'm actually fending off the flu right now, but it is wrap-up season, and I want to make sure I get this to y'all. Where all my movie buffs at, let me know. Alright, I managed 10 films for April. Started off the month with A Complete Unknown with your boy Timothy Chalalalalalalame. It's a confused look at a particular portion of Bob Dylan's life. I'm not exactly sure what it wanted to do other than have Timmy play Bob Dylan. And other than that, I thought it was just fine. If anything, I thought the actress who played Joan Baez, is that how you say her name? Was phenomenal. I loved all the vocal work. Timothy actually does an okay job of doing a good Bob Dylan. But overall, I thought it was just fine. I'm a big fan of these biopic films and just like period pieces in general. So it was just fun to see New York in this gritty, grimy Chelsea Hotel New York kind of way. I thought Timmy was just fine. I stand, but just fine. After that, I was very curious about Cate Blanchett playing Bob Dylan. So I watched I'm Not There, directed by Todd Haynes out of 2007. I don't feel like enough people talk about this film because I think it's interesting in that Virginia Woolf Orlando kind of way. It's a different take on Bob Dylan. It's about the autopsy of Bob Dylan's body and dissecting all of the different psyches that he embodies. The whole film is told in various points of view, one through a little black boy, through Cate Blanchett as Bob Dylan himself, Baudelaire, and it's interesting. And I think Todd Haynes is really good at these multi-perspective narratives. I don't think it necessarily worked here. I think it worked a lot better in his debut film, Poison. But here, I just think that because there were so many things going on, it just didn't seem tight enough to be a strong narrative. But if the battle between who is the best Bob Dylan, between Timmy and Cate, I think Cate wins this round. She does an amazing Bob Dylan. She just gets the enunciations just right and the rhythm of speech. I don't think she sings in the film. I don't think so. She plays a man real well, and it's really interesting. But yeah, thought this was just fine. I'd been meaning to get to this for forever when it first was released, and was glad to have finally done so. Next up, I watch Ran by Akira Kurosawa from 1985. This is an adaptation of King Lear done by way of samurais. Majestic, beautiful, epic. Some of those shots with men on horses and having to stage all that, bows and arrows and flames, just really well done. It's just kind of amazing sometimes how you can scale that and then bring it forward for the moving pictures for us to see. I thought this was okay. I'm not a big fan of Shakespeare adaptations, even if it's 10 Things I Hate About You. I don't know. I don't know what it is. As always, blocking is really good. Kurosawa has a strong sense of direction, and it stays strong throughout this film. After that, I watched Body Hate out of 1981. This is about a sleazy guy who works in insurance, I believe, and falls in love with a married woman, and they plot to kill the husband of the married woman. It takes too long for where it needs to get to, but plenty of sex if you needed that. But I just don't think the male lead was sexy enough to really push the film. Who is this? William Hurt. Yeah, he wasn't that sexy enough to really make me care. He was just straight up sleazy. But Kathleen Turner, on the other hand, incredible. She plays a fantastic femme fatale. Y'all, this is the original Gone Girl. Really loved the last half of this, much more than the first half. There are some interesting thriller-esque camera techniques that really push the film. That's what really sparks the interest in this film, propels the aggression. If you're looking for a steamy, sexy Florida film, this one does an okay job for being in the 80s. Then out of 1950, I watched Rashomon by Akira Kurosawa again. I did both of these Kurosawa films because my best friend and I, we decided to do this thing. He lives in LA and I'm here in Seoul, so to keep up with each other, we have these FaceTime calls just surrounding two films from the same director or from the same actor or actress. That forces us to watch films that we haven't gotten to and also talk to each other, keep in touch. Rashomon is about the rape of a woman whose husband dies by way of a bandit. The whole film is split into 4 different perspectives, and each perspective tells the same story. In that Kiarostami kind of way, it really looks at what story is and how a story is presented based on motives and the morals of a character, their needs and desires, and what is actually accomplished. What do they want to accomplish within their own narrative when they're telling this story of the bandit raping the woman and killing her little boyfriend. I thought this was incredible, given that it was out of 1950. Again, you can see Kurosawa's like early blocking and storytelling, sort of what he goes on to do and better perfects, but still a very, very strong film and story. Perplexing, given that by the end, we don't actually know the truth between all 4 perspectives. You are left to believe at least one of them. I think that's what's so beautiful about it. It's such a complex and compelling film for what it is, and yeah, I enjoyed this a lot more than Run. Then out of 1985, I watched A.K., Akira Kurosawa by Chris Marker. This is a documentary about the shooting of Run, and so it really is just scene by scene of like how Kurosawa directs samurais in between cars, them waiting out for weather, cast members sleeping. Okay, it did not make me like the film anymore, but I thought it was just interesting to see how Kurosawa directs. He's very, very particular and direct in what he wants from a shot. And so if you're interested in seeing how Kurosawa directs, I think this would do you some good. What I found interesting was that before actual shooting, he would do a rehearsal right before so that actors and actresses knew what they wanted to do. Also, I wanted to make a note here that I really love how Kurosawa portrays his women. He makes them out to be really complex. I feel like female characters during this time period were just used sort of as like a body to propel plot, but here they're given really complex emotions and feelings and are just as fleshed out as the male characters. So Kurosawa does a fabulous job of being able to allow all of his characters to really show themselves and be themselves. Then out of 1970, I watched this little funky Czech film called Killing the Devil. I am not going to try and pronounce this directress's name, but she was a set designer and she directed and wrote this film. It's about her luring in sort of a sloth of a man trying to kill him by way of love. It's really wacky, but really fun set designs and really interesting choices of the breakage of the fourth wall, and it gets a little absurdist at some points, phantasmical. But yeah, it's just funny that films like this from the 70s and 80s exist, and I just think that like, as much as I try and watch contemporary films, I have a larger interest in older films and just seeing the weird and wacky out there. And this is one of them. Next up, out of last year, I watched Happyend, mostly because of this Japanese-Korean model that I've had a crush on for forever, and he did such an amazing job in this film. It's about a group of high school students who get into some shenanigans that then force the school that they go to set up this surveillance system in an Orwellian kind of way. It's a points-based system, so every time they do something bad, they get docked points. And it's about the security of that. What is safety for a Japanese citizen? What is the safety for a foreigner living in Japan? Especially for him, because Yukito Hidaka, Japanese Korean, so he really plays into himself and plays that foreigner card where we don't really get narratives like this as much. So it uplifts the underdog and really tells the narrative of the importance of protests, standing up for your rights, standing up for what you believe in. As someone who is very young, it's okay, but because I'm so biased about this model actor, he did a fantastic job. Like, all of his feelings were there. You could see it in his face and his posture. For a debut film, he sold it to me. And it also plays with sort of the geographical terrors of Japan as well. I hope that this gets a wider release in the US, but for now, I think it's only available through festivals. This one streaming service in Japan, it was available in Korea for a bit, I think for like 2 or 3 days, but without any English subtitles, so kind of hard to get your hands on, but worth watching. Then I watched The Last 10 Years out of 2022. It's about a girl who has a disease that can't be cured and that will eventually kill her, but she falls in love with this guy, but is very protective of her feelings, and so sort of brushes this guy off to protect herself and to protect her work and what she wants to do with a life that ends much too quickly. So she writes a novel in the time, and it's a very Japanese film in the way where You get the piano montages with cherry blossoms swirling around. But what I liked about this one is because of another Japanese model. His name is Kentaro Sakaguchi. I'm pretty sure you've seen him on your Pinterest at some point. Yeah, he does such a good job. He plays the golden retriever boyfriend who goes out of his way to try and love this girl. It's a bit too long for what it is and very Japanese. So if you are in the mood for that, this will do you good. So I didn't know this, but the director of Happyend is Neo Soda, who is the son of renowned composer Ryuichi Sakamoto, who filmed his father's last live concert, if you will. This is Ryuichi Sakamoto Opus from 2023. It's done in pure black and white. It's just such a beautiful concert movie that goes through all of Sakamoto's best hits. He does it with such grace. He really honors his father by keeping a beautiful distance, but also leaning in with the camera when he needs to, in between pauses. It's always so beautiful to see Sakamoto take rests in between each song. I think he really honors his father through this film. Beautifully done. This is best watched / listened to very early in the morning or as you're winding down in the evening. And then the last film of April, I watched Written on the Wind out of 1956, my first Douglas Sirk film. I've been meaning to get to this director for a really long time, just because I miss cinema. You know what I mean? It has Rock Hudson and Lauren Bacall, and oh my god, just like cast alone, costuming, set design. It's just such a cinematic experience that never lets up, even though it's an incredibly long running time. It's just such great storytelling. And all the characters are really rich in that Steinbeckian kind of way. Sirk honors every single one of his characters by allowing them to take full praise and status in their own being. Just like the opening scene alone, autumn leaves in the foyer, and the title cards. It's just so cinematic and beautiful that it's melodrama at its finest. And I just miss films like this. I miss pure cinema, folks. Back in my day. Fantastic film. Yeah, if you love Lauren Bacall and like great costuming, this is not to be missed. It's fantastic. That's everything I watched in April. I feel like with every month, I'm watching less and less and reading less and less, so thanks for bearing with me. I just don't have any more time. But anyway, what did you enjoy out of April? What was your best watch of the month? And as always, be well, do good work, keep in touch.